And your appearance served as magic. Now the other speakers are around.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and a very good evening. It is my great pleasure to have been able to join you all in this very beautiful city in Freiburg. I express my sincere thanks to the European Environment Foundation for hosting this important event. This convention bears a special significance for all of us. We celebrated the entry into the force of the historic Paris Agreement. In Paris in 2015, we were successful to create a solid ground for a meaningful cooperation in combating climate change impacts. Now, this is the time to move forward to implement decisions into actions because of the livelihoods of millions of people would continue to be at risk unless we deliver our commitments on climate change issues. Ladies and gentlemen, Bangladesh initiated the conservation efforts with the able leadership of our father of the nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, immediate after the independence in 1971. The pollution control cell was established in 1973 and wildlife preservation order was enacted long back in 1974. Ladies and gentlemen, protection and improvement of environment is now one of the fundamental principles of our state policy because Bangladesh Constitution incorporated the Section 18A that says, quote, the state shall endeavor, preserve and improve and protect the environment and to preserve and safeguard our natural resources, wetlands, forests, biodiversity, and wildlife for the present and future citizens. Ladies and gentlemen, towards addressing climate change, Bangladesh has developed Bangladesh Climate Change Strategy and Action Plan with 6 pillars of actions. 1, food security, social protection and health. 2, comprehensive disaster management. 3, infrastructure. 4, research and knowledge management. 5, mitigation and low carbon development. 6, capacity building. Our Honourable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina received the Champions of the Earth Award of UNEP in 2015 for her outstanding leadership on the front line of climate change. Ladies and gentlemen, Bangladesh is the first country to set up Climate Change Trust Fund in 2009 and allocated about $400 million so far from our own resources. We have also achieved successes in disaster management despite our coastal areas being highly vulnerable to climate-related calamities such as floods and cyclones. We have put in place measures like early warning system, cyclone shelters, and river waste cultivation that have significantly reduced loss of lives and properties of Bangladesh. At this auspicious moment today, let us join our hands together to consolidate our partnership to fight against the perilous threats of climate change and other man-made environmental disasters. We must be prepared to share equitable burden to fulfill our promise of making the world a safer and better place for our future generations. We have a great challenge ahead of us, but we are determined to achieve success in environment conservation. Let us all work together and force a network to cooperation to reverse the challenges. I wish us all well in our deliberations. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Excellency. Very impressive what you are doing in your country. And as you know, Bangladesh is one of the most vulnerable countries to climatic change and has contributed in the past so little to global warming. So it is all the more admirable that you are among the first to pay into the pot for attenuating global warming. Thank you very much again. Now, there are various ways of doing something about global warming. Many people say, well, make everything solar and wind, etc., which is a good thing, no doubt. In Germany, it's a very successful road. But perhaps even more important is it to have an absorption of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere through trees. But then one or two trees would not be sufficient to make any difference. We may need 1 trillion. This at least seems to be the view of our next speaker, Felix Finkbeiner. I had the pleasure and privilege knowing you since about 10 years. At the time you were half as tall as I was. Now you are taller. This is a fact of life, and he's a wonderful guy and has been fighting for tree planting throughout with increasing success, and I ask you for the floor, please.